Story 1. AITA for hanging a photo of my family, including boyfriend, in my apartment. My boyfriend, 32 mil, recently moved into my 27 female apartment. We have been dating for a while, a little more than a year, and decided that it was time to make things serious. I have a daughter, 6 female, who also lives with me and visits with her father every other weekend. I work in a quite demanding job, and my daughter used to either stay with my parents or be at a daycare while I worked. However, with the current state of the world, my boyfriend has been able to keep an eye on her mostly. I'm still in the house, but he's been doing stuff when I'm not able to, like checking what she's doing for school and making her lunch. She's also taken an interest in music, and my boyfriend used to be in a band his teenage years, and she's fascinated by that, and they spend a lot of time playing the guitar together. So they've gotten pretty close, and they are quite fond of each other. As my boyfriend has moved in, we've taken to redecorating a bit to make it our space, and I put a frame of the three of us, me, daughter, and boyfriend, in the living room. It's a sweet photo of a happy day that we are all fond of. There are other photos around the house with my boyfriend, and there's a few of my boyfriend teaching my daughter the guitar, stuff like that. I don't have any photos of my ex around the apartment, but in my daughter's room, we've hung photos of her and her dad. They were always there. My ex and I have a complicated history, but we are now cordial. The other day when my ex came to pick up her daughter for the weekend, he noticed the changes in the pictures. I didn't really notice until later, but he left kind of mad. He then called me around midnight and ranted to me about how disrespectful it is to have a family-style photo with him, not included in any of them, and how it's going to negatively affect our daughter's relationship with him, and that I'm purposefully trying to alienate our daughter from him. Apparently, our daughter also has started talking about my boyfriend a lot in front of her father, and that rubbed him the wrong way. He wants me to remove the photos or add a photo with the three of us, him, me, and our kid, both requests which I've refused. Am I the a-hole? Now for the top comments. Not the a-hole, unless he agrees to have a photo of you, your daughter, and your boyfriend at his place. Without him, of course. Definitely suggest this. I know your ex is being irrational, but I think it comes from a good space. He doesn't get the chance to spend the time with his kid as you and your boyfriend do, and he's worried about being replaced/removed as dad in his child's eyes. He definitely went about it in a really horrible way, but it's a good chance to try to take your cordial relationship to a more cooperative one. Not the a-hole. Sounds like you, your boyfriend, and your daughter have a fantastic setup, and it's great how they're bonding over music. You would only be in a hole if you prevented your daughter from having any photos of her dad, which you aren't, as she has photos in her bedroom, so in no way are you in a hole. Stepkids can often have a tough time bonding with their parents' new significant others. The father should be happy that his daughter has another positive role model in her life. But it's clear he only feels threatened and is small. Not the a-hole. You said you put photos of him and your daughter in her bedroom, so he's not been cut out. Why would you want to have pictures of him in other areas of your home? He's your ex. And of course, your daughter is going to talk about your boyfriend. Your ex needs to get over himself. Came to say exactly this. There's a reason he's an ex, and even though they have a kid together, she has a right to move on. Plus, there's photos of her ex in the daughter's room, and that's okay too. Story 2. AITA for losing it after I found out what my husband did when our son was born. I, female 29, just gave birth to a baby boy. My husband, male 34, and I had a hard time trying to agree on a specific name. He declined every suggestion I'd come up with and tried to insist on one name only. His deceased brother's name. He passed away while serving in the military. He's younger than my husband. I told him he was being unfair by telling everyone on his side of family that this is the name we were going with. The reason I didn't want the name was because I felt it was forced upon me, since his family's been pressuring him to insist on this name to honor his brother since he's the only brother left in the family. It got me stressed out. I told him we could start looking for another name and use his brother's name as middle name. I don't know what his family thought of this suggestion, but since the decision was up to me and my husband, then they couldn't possibly force the name on me. My husband agreed on a name and said he liked it a lot. I repeatedly asked if he was okay with it, and he approved of it right away. 2 months went by, and after I gave birth to our son, my husband handled filling out the birth certificate. Everything was fine until we got home and my mom pointed out that our son's first name wasn't the one my husband and I agreed upon. I was shocked to see his brother's name as the first name with a completely different middle name. I asked my husband, and he said he did this, and there were no mistakes. I lost it. I lashed out and kept telling him that he shouldn't have done this. He defended himself, saying his family won't talk to him even after suggesting his brother's name as middle name, unless we use the name as first name. We started arguing. Then he said he too gets to have an opinion and a say since that's his son too. I lashed out and called him a jerk and refused to discuss it any further because it was unfair. I stopped talking to him, and he's saying that I shouldn't be mad, but I'm mad and I'm refusing to let it go. After his family and mine said that I'm starting arguments instead of focusing on my newborn. It's true that I'm lashing out at everyone, and I know I'm in the wrong for how I'm handling it, but I couldn't help but feel terrible. His family think I'm overreacting and being too harsh on him, and ruining his joy and being overdramatic. To be honest, I've been keeping my distance, and they never mentioned the name to me, but they kept talking to my husband about it. Not the whole. This would be grounds for divorce if I was in your shoes. It's a massive breach of trust, and I'm not sure I could get over it. I would be petitioning the court to change my son's name as well. I would also divorce and petition for a name change, as well as full custody. Not the whole. He lied to your face, he planned this, and completely disrespected your wishes and your authority over your son. This is bigger than you made it out to be. He didn't even use the agreed name as a middle name. He knew you would be angry and his family as just an excuse. This is the better ask for forgiveness than for approval crap. He knew you would be angry and just expects you to get over it. He thinks you being hurt and a bit angry is worth it. And he got his way, so it doesn't really matter in the long run. Don't let yourself be talked down. No, he lied repeatedly to your face. No, he planned that and disrespected you, fully intentional. Don't just let this go until he gets how bad this was. You forgot that he considers his birth family more important than his wife, that he'd rather disappoint and anger his wife over his parents, that he is showing he is very much still tied to the apron strings and not an actual husband and father. OPB mad. His total lack of respect for you and your wishes speaks volumes. Why should he get to ruin your enjoyment of the birth of your child, the child you did most of the labor making? Not the whole. I'm so mad for you. Not the whole. You have every right to be mad. You came to an agreement. He then went behind your back and literally betrayed you to get what his family wanted instead. His actions were despicable. Major red flags. Something like this could damage the trust in a marriage permanently. Absolutely. We did have an agreement, and he did say he liked the name I thought we were going to use. Honestly, now I know why he was receiving several calls from family members every week in the past month. I didn't know he'd do something like that. Never even crossed my mind. You're right, this is a betrayal of trust. Something's definitely changed about the way I see him now. Story 3. AITA for telling my ex he was very inconsiderate of our daughters when he found out the gender of his new child with his wife. My ex and I separated about 4 years ago now. We have a 7-year-old and a 5-year-old girls. He has a son from a previous marriage that he is full custody of. He is 10. He's been remarried for 3 years now. I also recently got married and welcomed a son last year. Well, I dropped the girls off to their dad for a gender reveal party, as ex and his wife are expecting. Well, I was watching the live video on Facebook, and it was a boy. He said, "Thank God, thank God." Then he said, "I didn't want any more girls. I would have shot myself." My girls were standing there, and that looked at the camera, and I could see it in their eyes that his words had hurt them. I went to pick my girls up, and I told him he should watch his words around the girls, because when he said that, it really hurt their feelings. He told me it was none of my business, and I was trying to ruin his happiness. To which I responded that I was not trying to do that, but protect our daughters for never feeling adequate when it comes to their brothers, and he was showing blatant favoritism. He got mad and spewed some nasty names at me. I took the girls home, and they told me that their daddy only loves boys, and he doesn't like girls. I calmed them down. Am I the a-hole for bringing it up to him on their special day? Now for the top comments. Not the a-hole. I'd be tempted to isolate a clip of his "Oh thank God." I would shoot myself if it was a girl, and send it to him. He sounds gross. I mean, definitely keep a recording of it for future custody disputes. My God. My God. Damn, I'm sorry about the dude who responded to you, but it looks like he got what he deserved, so I hope neither you or Op take it personally. Also, Op is not the a-hole. If this happened, he is a total the a-hole, not the a-hole. It is true. When I was pregnant with the girls, he was mad. He didn't smile or anything when he found out. He barely has anything to do with them. You should look into full custody. He is not going to prioritize his daughters in any capacity, because he is his precious sons. Not the a-hole. That's so sad for the girls. Reading your other comment, he will 100% favor the boys over them. Get them into therapy or see if you can adjust the custody agreement, if he actually does end up treating them differently, because that's going to cause some serious issues within them. Story 4. AITA for leaving my husband, who joined my mother and siblings in humiliating me. Me and my husband are in between jobs and have taken up residence at my mum's house. We have our own room, and we pay rent. My brother, 32, and my sister, 25, also live with her, but neither pay rent. I have sinusitis, and I'm always sick up in my room, which is also where me and my husband work from. I found out that there is some infiltration in the wall behind my wardrobe, and it has built a lot of moist and fungi, which is why I'm always sick. Most of my clothes smell, and there are doors that I can't even open without an allergy attack. Long story short, since my mother claims there are other important things to fix around the house, that I should just live with it or move to the tiniest bedroom in the house, which doesn't fit our bed and our desk, which is rather large due to both of us working on it, and a wardrobe. I think she does that because she wants to get my brother to have my room, which she already refers to as his room, which it will be after I leave. Yesterday, I took matters into my own hands and hammered at the back of the wardrobe, so I could clean the back and fix the problem in the wall. It is an old built-in wardrobe that came with the house, so this is the only way to get to the back of it. I have done various other handiwork in the house, so I didn't think this would be an issue. At this point, my husband starts screaming at me and attempting to pull the hammer out of my hands, claiming that I am destroying my mother's property. My mother comes in the room and starts screaming at me as well. No one addresses that I say I take full responsibility for what I'm doing, and that, if worse comes to worse, I would be ready to replace the whole wardrobe. They start calling me names, that I'm crazy, and that I've had a mental breakdown. All hell breaks loose. My husband is siding with my mom. My sister comes in to say that I'm insane, and my husband joins in putting me down. No one seemed to care that the wardrobe was full out fungi, and that was problematic for my health. My mother asked us both to leave for a few days because she needs peace. She knows we have nowhere else to go. I couldn't face my husband because I feel he has betrayed my confidence. I left them and came to my friend's house in a different city. My husband is still there, since he doesn't have where else to go. I feel like I'm right in having tried to fix the wall problem on my own. given that my mother had clearly stated she would not be looking into it due to having other priorities around the house. But I don't know how to feel about having left my husband there. AITA for what I did. I would be happy to add more context if needed. Not the a whole at all. I am struggling to understand why a single one of them thinks an old wardrobe is more important than your health when you are clearly suffering. I don't know why they would make such a leap to accusing you of a mental breakdown for trying to fix something. Is there more to the story there? Plus, you are paying rent and helping around the house with handiwork, so you have more than earned your right to a safe space. I can't believe your mother would ask the pair of you to leave knowing you have nowhere else to stay at the moment, and that you have been paying rent. I would seriously re-evaluate your relationships with these people and sit down with them to discuss what in the hell they are thinking and how to move forward from this. I think the basic idea is that she had multiple better ways to deal with the situation. Personally, I think that her account of the facts is pretty slanted. I have an unbelievably interesting job. I'm a prosecutor in the criminal courts, Crown Counsel, here in Canada. I'm constantly confronted with the task of sorting out who is telling the truth in situations of conflicting stories. One of the few things I've learned is that people's stories aren't reliable. Not that they are lying, far from it. It's the my cousin Vinny thing about perception, recollection, all that. What is reliable is a person's reaction. When 3 people's eyes bug out, and they yell, "What the hell did you do?" then the a hole is the 1, not the 3. Everyone sucks here. You have absolutely no right to start busting up someone's home without their permission. Like seriously, what is wrong with you? If you can't live there, move out. That being said, your husband and in-laws are even bigger a holes for not addressing the health issues of a family member. Came here to say exactly this. It's not ops property, therefore not ops place to make a decision like that, even if they've done work on the house before. That being said, family definitely are also a holes for not taking your health more seriously. You're the a hole. How were you supposed to breathe after you destroyed the wardrobe and set all of those spores into the air? You know it's not your house, and you're a temp guest, so what right do you have to destroy something? You didn't bring in a professional, and it sounds like you just got a sledgehammer. WTF? Absolutely no one in this thread has any idea what it is like to remediate mold, because not only does it make it harder for op to breathe, it makes the spread of mold to all household objects that much easier.